Welcome back to the Mqtt Essentials video series. Today we are going to talk about the publish-subscribe pattern. The pub-sub pattern is something Mqtt uses and implements, and is the foundational choice of communication Mqtt implements. And this is in contrast to other popular protocols like HTTP, who prefer the more traditional client-server protocol. So a client-server protocol or a request-response protocol usually work the following. You have a client and a server, and the client is requesting data from the server, and the server serves the data. So for example, if you have a web browser and you want to browse Wikipedia, your web browser would send a request to Wikipedia, and then you would get an answer with the data, so the page, back to your browser, and then you could, let's say, browse it. With Mqtt, there's a different choice. There is a publish-subscribe pattern, and there are three participants, at least, in a publish-subscribe pattern. You have a client, which is publishing data. You have a broker, who is the heart and the center of each communication. And you have one or more subscribers who are subscribing to data. And the broker is really the core and is distributing data because we have a decoupling. So the producing client, which is called publisher in Mqtt, sends a specific data point to the broker, and the broker would then send it to all interested subscribers. And these subscribers can, of course, also be publishers itself because we have bi-directional communication. And this has some advantages, this kind of communication, because we have a complete decoupling. So a few characteristics are that the clients are decoupled spatially. This means the publisher and the subscriber of a data packet does not need to be in the same room or even in the same time zone, or it could be on the other part of the globe. And you are also decoupled by time. This means if you have a publisher sending data to the broker, the subscriber of the data could be offline in this case. And then the broker would queue the message and then deliver it to a subscriber as soon as the subscriber is ready, for example, if it's online again. So the producing of data and consuming of data is completely decoupled. And one other characteristic is that it is decoupled asynchronously. This means the publisher and the subscriber, they don't need to wait for each other. So the publisher doesn't need to wait until the subscriber consumes the data because we are decoupled here. And also popular libraries for Mqtt you can use and build your project upon have asynchronous APIs, so you can receive data and send data asynchronously. So this is pretty cool because it's a very scalable way of communication. An advantage of the pub-sub pattern is scalability. Because publish-subscribe scales much better than traditional client-server approaches. And this is especially true if you're using a broker who has advanced capabilities like clustering, which, for example, HiveMQ implements, which allows you to have multiple brokers, and they form one logical, virtual single broker. So all your devices can connect to these brokers and produce and consume data. So publish and subscribe. A problem with the traditional publish-subscribe pattern is that the broker in the middle is the heart of the communication, so you usually have a single point of failure. This means if the broker would be unavailable, this would mean that neither the producing clients nor the consuming clients could send on or receive data. So it is important if you are doing Mqtt professionally that you're choosing a broker software that supports clustering, because then this means you are avoiding a single point of failure, because a single broker could go offline while the other brokers in the cluster still serve the clients. So this is something to be aware of. And so please make your choices wisely here. There are open source brokers, there are commercial brokers here, but since the the broker is the heart of the pub-sub communication. It's really important to have a good choice here. Okay, so this was a publish-subscribe pattern. We will talk about in detail how this works. So how is the data decoupled with topics, which Mqtt uses. We will have a dedicated video on this. So stay tuned. You can subscribe below. And as soon as we publish a new video on each Mqtt Monday, you will get it directly to your inbox. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.